All right, now we'll transition to some of the stuff that Andrew Berry said. Let's stick with the draft for a minute and the Travis Hunter. We talked about it in overtime. I know Dustin likes the idea of him playing corner with playing some on offense. Tyvis
limited snaps on offense, but not just like 5 snaps. Sometimes like 20
right, but
snaps.
His starting position essentially being corner. Tyvis, I know, agrees with that. Andrew Berry said, now, we don't know that the Browns are going to draft him, and I don't think the fact that he talked about it means the Browns are going to draft him. If anything, it more likely means the opposite, because he's trying to make people think they're not interested in the quarterback or whatever. But he said that he thinks he's going to be a primary offensive
receiver,
player.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I
get what he's saying in terms of you want him to have the ball in his hands. Did Andrew Berry actually use the word unicorn?
Yes.
He did.
He did. And he said his superpower is his playmaking, and he'd rather have him get the ball 100 times as a receiver than and he used this number 30 times at a good point as a defensive back and return specialist. But I got to defer to Tyvis and Dustin on this one. You guys said it's way easier because the technique as a defensive back is so tough. It is way easier to hammer that and fine-tune that and then just go be a playmaker on offense as opposed to fine-tuning your receiving skills and then just go run out as a defensive back here or there and be able to keep up with all the concepts in the defensive room and the coverages and all that. And I'm going to defer to you guys. You played at a much higher level.
I just think playing corner is one of the easier positions to play when it comes from a mental standpoint. You don't have to necessarily think as much as you are just reacting to the obviously the player that you're defending, whether it's man coverage, zone coverage, things like that. But like you don't have to know all the schemes of the offense.
So it wouldn't be as hard.
I personally, I mean, I saw it firsthand when we put Chris Gamble in on defense, and we just said, like, basically gave him 2 hand signals, and he was good, and he was a receiver, the whole time. Put him on defense, didn't really teach him squat, other than like, dude, can you just go cover that guy?
Right, and he was just a great enough athlete.
Piece of cake,
And Travis Hunter's a great athlete.
Yeah, I think the offense requires a little bit more to learn. Now, if we were talking about him playing a safety or a linebacker or a position that was more cerebral, different story. You're going to have to put more time into it. I don't think so at corner.
So then maybe it does make sense for him to play wide receiver primarily and then play some at corner. Maybe you put him out there on third downs, big spots in the game, whatever it may be.
Listen, they can decide. A team can decide whatever they want to do with where they want to primarily put him.
Yeah.
It could be offense, it could be defense. But the number one thing you're not going to do is play the guy basically completely the same amount of time on both sides of the football.
No,
you just can't. He did it in college, like 120, 130 snaps in some games.
Right.
You can't do that in the league.
Not in the NFL. Plus, you want to use them on special teams a little too. So
the player will die on the field.
Yeah.
From a physical standpoint, Dustin, over the course of a 17-game season, which position do you think takes a bigger toll from a physical standpoint, being a receiver or being a cornerback?
Boy, it's hard to say. Both positions sort of are like hit or miss in terms of how active you are going to be. If you're playing corner, okay, are you playing to the boundary side, playing to the field side? It's not as big a deal in pros as in college, but like, are you going to be involved in a lot more tackles as a corner?
Right,
Okay, or are you going to be involved in a game plan where they're going to attack you? So you got to make some plays, and they're running go balls on you, so you're sprinting your butt off. Or same thing goes for offense. How many times are you getting targeted? Are they putting you out there just to throw you the ball, or do you have to go out there and block a little bit too? Which I think you probably have to do a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an elite corner, I feel like there was a time, Dion and Darryl Green maybe, where you might avoid throwing at a guy like that. But like, if Travis Hunter, let's say he's an elite corner, but if you're playing Justin Jefferson, if you're playing Jamar Chase, you're playing A.J. Brown, those type, like, they're not going to just not throw to you. You feed those guys the ball. So, Travis Hunter, if he's an elite corner, well, he's guarding all those guys.
Which means
he's going to have to make a lot of plays.
Yeah, and he also may be a little bit tired to go on offense, right? I mean, if he's out there and you're saying, hey, whole game, you got JJ. The entire game.
Right.
Man, I think that'd take a lot out of you.
You need he's got to be with the right coach, because this is a delicate balance that they got to find for how they use him. What do you guys think he's going to run? What's the all-time record now? Did it get broken again last year?
4.2 flat, man.
Xavier Worthy ran a 4.24 or 4.23 last year to set the record.
Can he break it, do we think, or no? He's not quite that fast.
Dude, I don't know.
I don't think
That
he's
speed
that
is just
fast.
absolutely insane. At some point, that's it. Like, how
Yeah.
much faster can you get?
It's still 40 yards, no matter where you start. It's 40 yards.
Yeah.
And to your point, that's
What does
basically 10 yards per second.
I can't think of the name of that great
Usain Bolt?
Usain
Bolt.
Bolt.
What does he run?
Well,
Well, they don't
Faster.
run a 40-yard dash.
no, he runs the 100-meter dash, and
What do you think he would run in a 40?
They've done some things. It was in the 4.1s, I think.
Yeah, and he's
It was a 4.22.
4.22.
Xavier Worthy.
Worthy
No,
or
that was
Bolt?
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt.
Oh.
But Bolt was never the fastest starter, though.
Yeah,
He had the long
built up.
strides.
The 100
He-
meters
Right.
actually helped him, and he was really
Yeah.
good at the 200 as well.
Right,
He was even
right.
better at the 200,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Yeah. So I don't know.
If he trained specifically for a 40-yard dash, he'd probably get better. I mean, probably go under a 4.2 eventually, maybe.
Probably just because he's the fastest human
Yeah,
ever,
yeah.
but like he didn't have a great start.
He had the
So-
long strides, which has ended up
Right.
He probably to be like
But
the
it's not
fastest
something
40.
he's ever needed to work on because he's not running a 40-yard dash.
No.
You wonder if he had to work. But it doesn't matter. You had a question for Dustin? Go ahead.
Yeah, Dustin, if Travis Hunter plays primarily wide receiver, Tyvis brought up the problem of getting in rhythm as a cornerback. Like, what does that kind of play into? I want your opinion on getting into that rhythm. and not
rhythm's
doing it
very,
every snap.
very important as a player. And obviously, I played the position. I would not have felt comfortable going out there, for spot duty. I mean, that's one of the toughest things. And I do that a little bit as a freshman at Ohio State, where I was forced into action and would come on the field, go out. That was tough. I think as a player, you want to get out there and just get your feet wet and feel comfortable because you're not. I'm like. You may go out there for a series and it might be all man coverage. Well, the next series might be all zone coverage. Like you need to get a feel for the flow of the game. Like, how is this offense attacking our defense? Are they taking shots down the field? Like, what sort of offense are they? You have to be in the game to understand what that offense is trying to do. And I just think it'd be really difficult to get into that, like as you said, rhythm when you're not out there every snap.
And like when the defense is on the sideline and they're looking at the pictures or looking at video.
Yeah, there's not a lot of downtime for a guy who's playing both ways.
Right.
So there's not time to
It's
just
gonna be
to really
fascinating.
do that self-scout evaluation on the sidelines, taking a look at things because he may get off the field on defense and they're just calling his name to go in on maybe it's a punt return, maybe it's an offensive series. Who knows?
I bring this up just because of Travis Hunter, because I know nobody really cares. But I have the first overall pick in 2 rookie drafts.
Shut up.
Well,
No one cares.
I'm not.
No one cares.
This is why I'm saying. You shut up.
Nobody cares about your fantasy football team.
I am not even considering taking him because I just don't think he's going to play enough on offense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not taking him as the first overall pick, even though he's going to be the first skill position player drafted.
I'd take Ashton Genty.
Well, depending on what team he ends up on, probably. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, I just think in the end,
I would take.
he's not
if
going to
you've
play
got-
all the time.
Yeah, I'd be getting a guy who's going to play all the time.
Right, exactly.
At least you
That's
knew he
what
was
it
gonna play
is,
all the
but
time.